Good day, YouTube. This is Jay Money with Falling Forward Financial. Just an update here on Apple. It's been having a really good day here today. This is kind of what it looks like over the last 3 months. So it's still up 12% or $16.03. Could have got into it at 134. Could have got another dip at 122. And it looks like it went up to 149 and kind of staying around that range, so we'll see what it does here for the rest of the day. Up over 10% in the last month and up over 3% in the last week, and here's a look at today. So really good day. I could have got in on the early dip at 147.18 and it's just continuing to go up. So as you can see, I have 7 and a partial share here in Robinhood, cost basis of 113. So I've been doing pretty good with this one. I have more Apple in retirement. This is a long-term hold for me. Probably hold until I retire probably is my thoughts on this one. It just keeps going up and split last year, and so I'll just continue to hold this one. If you don't know what Apple is, feel free to pause and go over this. You're probably watching it on a Apple device or iPad or TV or computer. So been around since 1976. Tim Cook, the CEO, still, and 107, almost 108 million shares. So quite a few shares being traded on this one. $2.47 trillion market cap, and not too great of a dividend, but they do give a dividend of 0.57%, which they could increase that actually, if you ask me. So they have enough cash sitting around. I think they do increase that from time to time, but I would like to see that increased a little bit more. So pretty good ratings, 75% on this one. And here's a look at their earnings. So it looks like they've been beating on earnings, but it looks like they've been kind of going down a little bit over the last year. But and then they have earnings coming up available July 27 after hours. Here's a look at some of the dividend payments. Here is in May, so it looks like 22 cents per share. It looks like they actually did increase it from 20.5 cents to 22 cents, so that's quite a difference. If you have a couple hundred shares, you can see what the difference would be. And just a couple articles that came out here on Apple. This one is on NASDAQ, if it ever decides to load here. So moving on, MSN Money, Twitter says it took a smaller hit from Apple iOS privacy changes than expected. And so always seems like Apple's in the news for one thing or the other. I've covered them quite a few times here on the channel. Twitter said on Thursday the impact of Apple's recent privacy changes on the second quarter revenue was lower than expected. What happened? The Jack Dorsey-led social media giant said that it was too early to assess the long-term impact of Apple's app tracking transparency feature in iOS 14.5, and the hit was more muted than the company expected. So far, we're pleased with what we've seen, but it's too early to call a long-term trend. And it's really not been that long here. Not everybody is upgraded, and agencies and advertisers in the broader ecosystem likely not fully adjusted yet. Why it matters, Brian Bowman, CEO, said that Apple's app tracking transparency policy has had a devastating impact, and the iOS advertisers are experiencing a 15 to 20% revenue drop, and only 20% of the consumers have said yes to the AT&T prompt allowing apps to personalize ads. Earlier this year, Apple released the AT&T feature which restricts tracking consumer data unless users allow it. Facebook is also engaged in a bitter war of words with Apple over the privacy-related rule changes, and Twitter shares closed at 69.57 on Thursday. So lots of tug of war with the big tech, and so we'll see. I have no doubt that Apple will come out on top. So it's one of my favorite tech stocks, along with Amazon. I have some Facebook. Regards to share price, Apple's probably my favorite. It's just more affordable than buying $32 or $35 share of Amazon. Although I do have Amazon, you can buy partial shares. I need to start buying some more partial shares. So Apple is doing something we've never seen before, failing in public. Why it just might work. The company keeps making changes to Safari based on feedback, and looks like a brilliant strategy. So after a few weeks of using the latest version of Apple's beta software for the iPhone, iPad, and Mac, it seems like the company is trying a new strategy. This year, Apple is reversing course on one of the most significant new changes, seemingly in response to user feedback. That's not to say Apple never makes changes throughout the beta process. Of course it does. Usually, however, Apple is notorious for releasing a new user interface and then sticking to its guns and refusing to make changes no matter the pushback. This time it appears to be taking a different approach, at least when it comes to Safari. And feel free to pause and go over the rest of that information there for yourself. I'm just going to slowly scroll through here. And again, you can find this on www.inc.com, inc.com, right there. For example, on Safari on the iPhone, the address bar is now a floating blob at the bottom of the screen. Presumably, that's because it's an easier reach when you're holding your iPhone. I would agree that's useful, but the way it's implemented actually hides more content than before, and it doesn't really behave the way you would expect. In the original beta version, it bounced to the top as soon as you tapped on it, forcing your fingers to figure out what's happening as you tried to type in a URL. So, sounds kind of annoying. I don't have an Apple device, so I can't comment other than what I just read to you, but feel free to leave your comments in the comment section. So, and again, this kind of goes over some more information. Kind of goes over how Tim Cook views failure. And so definitely don't want any failure in a company of this size, and then it would be hurting the stock price. So, and again, I'm just going to keep scrolling through for those of you that would like to read the rest of that. And moving on here over to livemint.com. So Apple looks to lease Hollywood hub for filming shows and movies. And so they're all working on their own platforms, all following Netflix and Amazon, Hulu. Everybody's got their own platform, AT&T, Disney. So Apple told real estate developers it wants to lease a large production campus in Los Angeles for its growing entertainment options, according to people familiar with the matter, a move that would further deepen big tech's presence in Hollywood. So I find this very interesting, and we'll see what that does to the share price as well. Moving on here, all things Apple stock, a chat with Wedbush Dan Ives. One of the most vocal Apple bulls on Wall Street sat down with the Apple maven to discuss all things Apple. Check out the full conversation here. So Thursday the 22nd, which was yesterday, most bullish analysts on Apple sat down with Apple mavens Daniel Martins for a conversation about the Cupertino-based company. Dan Ives spoke about his bull case in more detail and explained why he sees Apple climbing nearly 30% from here. So if you're looking to get into Apple, in regards to this report, now might be the time to get a 30% increase. But again, I don't give tax, legal, or trading advice. You'd have to do your own due diligence and figure that one out on your own. So below is a summary of some of the important topics of the conversation. Some of the highlights here. debate went beyond results of the fiscal third quarter. Dan offered to take on Apple's smartphone business in general and the iPhone 13 more specifically, one of the key tenets of this bold thesis. It was also very interesting to hear Dan's opinion on what could become one of the Apple's main engines of growth in the mid to long-term future, the Apple Car. The analyst has kept his finger on the pulse of this long-awaited product launch, and he offered the following take. For more insights from Dan Ives from the M1 opportunity to turn around in the Greater China and discussion on how the best value Apple stock, watch the full video, which is probably down here somewhere. And moving on, this footwear company has outperformed Apple, Tesla. I've talked about both of those in past year and expect traders see yet more upside. So there's your hint. Crocs. If you have any Crocs, go ahead and list that in the comments. That'd be interesting to know as well. I do not have any of those, so shares have exceeded those of the venerable names such as Apple and Tesla in terms of one-year gains, and according to some experts, they still have more upside. Gains so far, Crocs, which was launched in 2002, has since then sold more than 700 million pairs of shoes in more than 90 countries. With more than $8.1 billion in annual sales, Crocs say it's among the world's 10 largest non-athletic footwear brands. Shares of the Broomfield, Colorado headquarters Crocs have shot up 266.9% over the past year. And now compare that to Apple and Tesla, both trading darlings, which have gained 58.1% and 114.6% in a similar period. I have both Apple and Tesla, do not have any Crocs. So like I said, if you have any Crocs, go ahead and leave that in the comments as well. Earnings. Crocs reported second quarter earnings of $2.23 per share, which beat consensus estimate of $1.52 by 46%. Wow, that's huge. Again, I don't have any Crocs, so too late on that one. Over here to Reddit. Apple $150 Friday, so we'll see if they touch that today. Chuck here on StockTwits, currently at $148.07. Could have got into the 52-week low of $89.15, high of $150, and $2.45 trillion market cap and 34.79 million volume. Apple stocks going up. Trying so hard. I see you keep going. Look good. Microsoft has been a good one also. Over here to tip ranks, currently at $148.04 with a moderate buy, 19 buy out of 26, 5 hold, and 2 at a sell. So don't know what those 2 on the sell are thinking, but I'm not about to sell unless it hits a high and goes back down. That's the only time I'm selling. So. But this is projected with a 7.6% upside to 159.42, a high of 185, and a low of $90. But that's all that I have. There is some information here on Twitter, where millennials and Gen Z investing in. Neo, Apple, and Tesla, of course. This is very interesting. Even gives a breakdown. Bunch of Neo, bunch of Apple, even by state. That's very interesting. Facebook will be launching cloud gaming service on Apple devices today. And so I guess if you have the platform, you can do whatever you want if other people want to put stuff on your platform. Buying a new $800 iPhone every year. Wow, and that's why the stock goes up. So that's why I don't have a Apple phone, so too expensive. But that's all that I have on Apple. If you have shares in Apple, go ahead and list that in the comments along with your cost basis, how many shares you have. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, go ahead and hit that for me, as well as subscribing and hit the bell so you're notified of when the next videos drop. Again, this is J Money, Falling Forward Financial. Happy trading, happy investing, stay green. Cheers.